What's up, guys? Welcome back to Nintendo Memories, and today we are discussing Nintendo's June Nintendo Direct. Yes, it's that time of year again where we're all looking forward to that next Nintendo Direct and just see what Nintendo's going to bring. I have three categories that I'm going to break this discussion down into. The first category is the games I think we are 100% going to see. The second category are games that I think are more on the 50-50 side, and then the last section I just saved because I think that these games are games that I personally hope that could get announced, and there are also some games that have been rumored. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first two games I want to get out of the way, since I'm not really big fans of these games. They're not on my highly anticipated list, but I know for other people they are. So the first two games I wanted to get out of the way is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Bayonetta 3. These are two games that have 2022 releases. Xenoblade, of course, coming out in July, so I totally expect to see that there. And Bayonetta 3 still has a 2022 release date, so I still, even though I'm not a fan of it, I know that, there's other people that are, and I have a feeling that we're probably going to see it if it's still coming out in 2022. So another thing that I think we're definitely going to see, since it's coming out in September, is Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3, of course, we've seen very little new stuff when it comes to Splatoon 3. A lot of it has been the same kind of turf war and salmon run, but we haven't really seen much new except for maybe that brief story trailer we got way back when. And so I totally expect that we're going to see a whole lot more of Splatoon 3 and maybe even a deep dive on Nintendo Treehouse. And Nintendo still does a Treehouse event in June after their Direct, because this is normally around their E3 time. Another game that I'm really looking forward to seeing is the Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, the sequel to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. And I totally expect that we're going to get another mega trailer about this. We haven't heard about this at all since it was announced. And so unless it's getting delayed, I totally expect that this game shows up. So I'm really excited to see more of it. And speaking of Mario, I totally expect to see the next DLC pack from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the next piece of the Booster Course Pass. And so I totally expect to see, a new trailer for the new courses and the second piece of DLC for that game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Nintendo brings with that. Now, the next set of stuff that I think we're going to possibly see has more of a 50-50 shot at showing up. The first one being Breath of the Wild 2. Now, everybody wants to see Breath of the Wild 2, myself included. I'm ready to stop calling it Breath of the Wild 2. I'm ready for Nintendo to give us a name for this game, and I'm just ready to find out more about what's going on here. And, Nintendo doesn't really have to do a complete blowout. They can just give us another trailer like they did last year. And for the record, guys, I totally think that when Nintendo gets ready to blow out this game, I think it's going to get a presentation all on its own. I think there will be a Nintendo Direct solely dedicated to Zelda, because, for them to take this long making this game, and for them to, because you got to remember, Breath of the Wild took over E3 in 2016. And so if Breath of the Wild 2 is basically that game, but bigger and much more expanded, a 5-minute trailer and a 10-minute overview is not going to cut it. They're going to really have to do a deep dive. And that's why I think sooner or later this game is going to get a presentation all on its own. But just for this Direct, I would be more than happy with just another trailer showing off more gameplay. And, maybe that's why they haven't shown so much, is because maybe the gameplay itself is part of the name, and they don't want to give away, because they have a name, they said, but it has a huge spoiler. And so that's why they haven't given it away, because maybe it has to tie in with something story related, or maybe something gameplay wise that they're just not ready to show off yet. Now, moving on from that, the next game that I think we have a 50-50 shot of finally seeing is Metroid Prime 4. We got that new screenshot of on the Retro Studios Twitter page showing Samus in a dark hallway, and so many people, myself included, think that this is a sign that the gears are finally starting to turn on Metroid Prime 4, and maybe Retro's got something to show. At this point, it would have been 3.5 years since the restart, so I would think that they have at least something to show. So I hope we see it. It would be amazing. And so I think we have a 50-50 shot. If it doesn't show up, I won't be mad. I just, I really think that, it's been long enough now. I think we're possibly slated to get something. So we'll just have to wait and see. Now, this last category is more of my wishful thinking, and these are games that have also been rumored, so bear with me. So the first game that has been rumored for years now is the Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD combo. And many people out there are still adamant that this game is coming. And now that Breath of the Wild 2 has been pushed into spring of 2023, people are more adamant that these games are coming because there's no Zelda this year, they've got to fill in the Zelda slot with something. So Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD Combo Pack. If those games came to Switch, every 3D Zelda game would be on Switch at this point. You have Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask on Nintendo Switch Online. Then you would have Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker HD. So every major 3D Zelda game would be on the Switch, and that would be amazing that you could play all those games on one place. That would be amazing. Now, the next rumored game is a new Donkey Kong game. Apparently, there was a rumor that surfaced last year that the Mario Odyssey team was working on a brand new Donkey Kong game. And so if that turns out to be real, I would love to see it. But if not, I'm totally okay with that too. Now, the last game has also been rumored very heavily, but it's also more on my wishful thinking. I really, really hope that this turns out to be true. Metroid Prime Remaster, a remaster of the very first Metroid Prime. Now, I think this has the more likelihood of happening than any of these because Metroid Prime 4, it's been over a decade since the last Metroid Prime. And I have a feeling that there's a lot of people out there who need to be reintroduced to that. Just like Metroid Dread reintroduced people to the 2D part of Metroid, Metroid Prime Remaster, or porting the Metroid Prime games could very well reintroduce people to the 3D aspect of Metroid to get people ready for Metroid Prime 4. So I really hope that this turns out to be true because the first Metroid Prime game is probably my favorite of the three. So if they're remastering it and making it look better and bringing it to Switch and being able to play it portably, man, I'm telling you, I would love that. So, and then maybe if they come out with, if they show a trailer for Metroid Prime Remaster and then segue into a small little teaser for Metroid Prime 4, that would be amazing if they did that. But either way, I think if Nintendo does a June Direct, it's going to be really good. I would tamper my expectations on Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Prime 4. I think those games are 50-50. And I don't think we get the Breath of the Wild 2 blowout just yet. I think Breath of the Wild 2 gets a presentation all on its own. And as far as Metroid Prime 4 goes, Nintendo will show that game off when it's ready. But Breath of the Wild 2 is more ready than Metroid Prime 4 is, I can tell you right now. And so, but anyway, I'm excited. What do you guys think we're going to see at Nintendo's June Direct? Comment below and let me know. And so if you guys like what you see and you're a fan of Nintendo, please subscribe. And I will catch you guys in the next video. See you guys later.